Welcome back to another edition of the Scarlet and Gray Report podcast. My name is Colin Gay, and I'm the managing editor for the Scarlet Gray Report in the Rivals Network. He is Zack Carpenter, our recruiting editor, and he's going to be doing most of the talking today because it's been a big recruiting couple days for Ohio State, securing its first 2024 commit and it's a big one. Quarterback Dylan Raiola out of Arizona. Wasn't sure what the time zone situation was there. They're late, so it had us waiting until 11 o'clock, but Ohio State got it done. Zack, how big is this for Ohio State, just to put it in a nutshell?
Yeah, well, first off, if you're going to have me do all the talking, then we want to go 20 minutes on this podcast, but we might want to be in 45. So I think everyone understands that I'm a long-winded talker and rambler, but you know what? I have a lot of stuff to say, guys, so just bear with me. Yeah, the time zone thing was a little wacky with the confusion there a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Ohio State couldn't – it's always important to, if you land your first commitment in the class, to be a quarterback, and for it to be as high profile of a guy like Dylan Raiola. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a bigger, more monumental splash. I mean, first, just talk about him. He's the prototypical quarterback prospect, physically 6'3", 225, pushing 230, strong-armed, accurate, cerebral. I mean, his football IQ is off the charts. If you guys read my more in-depth feature on him on Scarlet and Gray Report, his coach and people around him just, I mean, speak glowingly about him, but coming from quarterback talent evaluators that are more qualified to talk about it than I am. They see him. They're like, if I was looking at what a first round NFL draft pick would look like as a sophomore in high school, I would be looking at Dylan Raiola. And it's like, yeah, it sucks to put that type of overhype on him. And I felt like I was doing that in the whole story I was writing. But if a kid's going to deserve this type of hype, it's going to be him. And yeah, there's the Patrick Mahomes comparisons. And like I said, he just turned 17 on Monday. And I hate comparing a kid to of that age to Patrick Mahomes, but it's not as if we're like comparing him to Patrick Mahomes now. It's just the spitting image of some of the arm angles and the creative off-platform throws and just that photographic memory, because that's what Mahomes is known for having. And Raiola there, it's sort of a agreed upon fact that he probably does have a photographic memory. So you couldn't have asked for a bigger splash in him, the talent, and couldn't have asked for a bigger splash in terms of how this is going to be momentous for the 2024 recruiting class and the 2023 class, because Raiola is one of the most respected quarterbacks in either of those two classes nationwide among some the top tier recruits, 5-star receivers, running backs, offensive linemen, and then guys on the defensive side of the ball. I had said, I told you privately, I said this on the message boards, that Ohio State was already sort of emerging as, even before Raiola committed, with the momentum they had with a lot of those 5-star guys in the class. Like you look at KJ Bolden, Jeremiah Smith, JoJo Trader, those are the two receivers down in Florida, and KJ Bolden, athlete out of Georgia. And those are just to name a few. They were already gaining momentum and establishing themselves as a potential early front runner for the number one class in 2024. And Raiola's commitment now firmly establishes them as the number one, or as the front runner for the number one class. And I know we say this every year, whenever Ohio State starts getting momentum. It happened in the 21 class, happened in the 2022 class. Like, this is going to be the highest ranked signing class in college football history, or Ohio State's finally going to win that recruiting crown that they've never won. But really, I for the first time in I'm entering my 4th season now covering Ohio State. It's the first time I actually believe with conviction that they will in the end get that number one class. Still a long ways away, but this week was a huge spark plug for that to potentially happen on the road.
And I think you mentioned 23, and on the surface level, at least, when I saw Raiola, getting talked about, getting kind of emerging as this guy that's, coming in and defining what the quarterback position for Ohio State is moving forward. At the surface level, you're like, okay, but wait, Ohio State is not going to do anything in 23. Like, their focus should be on 23, not 24. But then you think about it. Then you think about the situation that Raiola was coming into. Then you think about kind of the progression of quarterbacks, which we talked about, or which I wrote about this morning. Why, I guess you kind of already mentioned this in terms of what Ohio State is building into, 23, 2024. But why is Dylan Raiola important to the 2023 class? Why is it important to kind of signify what is it to signify what Ryan Day is building, or why is his, commitment kind of cross class, I guess, for lack of a better term? Why is it important?
Yeah, a couple questions you asked there. And in the 23 class, I asked Ryan Day about this on Friday, like, has his recruiting philosophy at quarterback changed at all, knowing how loaded that room is with CJ Stroud, Kyle McCord, and Devin Brown? And obviously after this year, I think, CJ Stroud will be gone to the NFL. But he pretty much said no, like, we're still to get the best player in every class. And so in the 2023 class, it doesn't look right now like Ohio State's trending toward getting one of those top tier guys, at least top ranked guys in the class. And Raiola getting him in the 2024 class now takes so much pressure off them to land a high profile, big name quarterback who's fully developed, like a Raiola or Devin Brown, someone like that. I didn't mean to say fully developed, but you know what I mean,
Sure.
more developed, closer,
like projection type.
Yeah. But it takes pressure off them to land that guy in the 23 class. But at the same time, I know for a fact Ohio State has a plan they're very confident in, and that's giving you guys some real inside information. I realize that, but I know they're confident in their plan, and whether or not it's going to be a high profile name or one of their targets like Dylan Lonergan, who I could go down a path to talking about him, but Ohio State's still in the mix there, even though I think South Carolina, he's my future cast pick for Lonergan, and South Carolina and Stanford are competing there. But in the 23 class, I get this feeling that Ohio State has something up their sleeve. I don't know if it would be a big name guy or not, but they have something which has happened before with CJ Stroud and them, Devin Brown, the 22 class. And I won't be surprised if like some more names emerge this summer, whether that's on the camp circuit or later, like early fall or whatnot. But they still need a quarterback in that 2023 class. Just takes the pressure off the 24, or it takes pressure off of them. What was your second question?
No, I think you what do you feel is, whether it's, your receiver in 2023, an offensive lineman in 2023, a running back in 2023, why should Dylan Raiola's commitment excite you?
Well, yeah, that's simple. You have arguably the best quarterback in that 2024 class, or like I said earlier, either of the cycles combined, he's going to be throwing the ball to you. And he's a guy who knows, I'm going to get the ball out quickly. I'm going to, I know he has the ability to extend plays and get creative, but he knows to get the ball into the hands of his playmakers and not rely on himself too much. So you're going to get the ball evenly distributed, and in that Ryan Day offense where it's all the I don't want to say pressure, but it's all on the quarterback's shoulders and the receivers. So when you trust your quarterback to be a guy who can throw it down the field and laser it to you with that accuracy, or get it to you in the middle of the field, or on short routes, or those 10 to 12 yard deep outs that Ohio State likes to run, and the comeback routes, that you have that consistency and you can trust that. And it's a vice versa. It's a two-way avenue there between the receivers and the quarterback with the trust. And getting the ball there. So that's there between the receivers, and then the linemen. I mean, they know that they're going to have a guy that they're going to. I've heard former NFL players say this before, that if you truly love the quarterback in your room and like trust them and you have that relationship there, that you're going to block your ass off for him. Like you're going to. I mean, that seems simple, or like.
We heard it about Joe Burrow, like on that Cincinnati Bengals team. I mean, how much they wanted to play for a quarterback, how much. I mean, it's the old cliche of leadership, right? Like, it's like, oh, if he's going to lead us, we're going to want to block for him. I mean, Justin Fry, I wrote a story that you guys will see soon about how if the quarterback has confidence in the lineman guarding him, the quarterback's going to play with confidence, leading to more confidence for the O-line, leading to more confidence for the wide receivers as well. So, I mean, confidence from knowing what you're going to get from the quarterback position, especially in the future. I mean, that can't hurt, right?
Yeah, it's the toughness too. I mean, you named Joe Burrow, and that's something, the stand in the pocket and not afraid to get hit. That's something Raiola has. He has that toughness in the pocket. And if you have a guy, if you have offensive linemen who you trust, I mean, you're going to stand in the pocket even longer.
Yeah.
But that's in the recruiting department with other guys. I mean, but to go back to sort of the what Ryan Day and Ohio State are doing here, I mean, this just signifies that they're continuing to put a foothold down as one of the destination programs for the nation's best quarterback talent. I mean, I wrote a story the other day that it was, there's in the 2020, 21, 22 classes, Ohio State signed 4 of the top 17 ranked quarterbacks across those classes, and CJ Stroud was the lowest ranked one, and he is a Heisman favorite now and Heisman finalist last year, potential number 1 overall pick in the draft. Anyway, even if they don't get one of those highly ranked guys in the 23 class, Raiola is going to be fighting. He's probably going to wind up in the top 10 overall, and he's at worst going to be the number 3 ranked quarterback. And I think him and Jaden Davis will be fighting 1 and 2, but like similar to Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields in that 2018 class. So even if you include the 23 cycle, and so in the 5 recruiting classes, 2020 to 2024, Ohio State will have signed, including Quinn Ewers, 5 of the, let's say, safely top 25 quarterbacks across a 5-cycle span. That's, I mean, a little absurd, because I don't think any other program has signed more than 3.
That's a hell of a track record
at this point in time, I guess. But
yeah,
it's just another strong signifier that it's going to go on like this for a while, as long as Ryan Day is here. And we need to mention Corey Dennis. He did an awesome job building a relationship with Raiola. I mean, you see them walking through the tunnel together, riding on the golf cart together during his spring game visit. So, I mean, but I know Corey Dennis has been doing a great job there. So, I mean, like I said, just to continue rambling here, it's just another signifier of all that.
One last quick question from me, and I know you hate projections. I know you hate, like, who's the next guy to get Ohio State's going to get. That's not what I'm going to ask you.
You're asking me without asking me, though. I see that. That's a good interview technique.
Yeah, see, that's right. That's right.
They talked about Ohio State. Nicole Kraft, shout out.
Who will Dylan Raiola be Ohio State's starting quarterback in 2025?
What was let me look at your succession plan here. The beautiful story that Colin Gay wrote for rivals.com.
So I have them. I have him as starting, but then again, that's the best case scenario in terms of, Kyle McCord, Devin Brown. I have them both gone after 1 year. So that's kind of, it's either going to be Devin. It's more of a question of, okay, will Ohio State have a starter from 2023 heading into 2025 with Devin Brown or Kyle McCord or whatever the heck, I really do think he has a chance, like sitting 1 year behind Devin Brown and then the job's his.
No doubt about it. I mean, that's a really hard question to answer. I'm going to go the safe route and say Devin Brown will be starting in 2025 and that he'll be here for what would that be, 4 years?
Yeah.
I think 2 years of starting experience. I mean, if you look at CJ Stroud, if he would have came out last year, I guess he probably would have been one of the first quarterbacks taken, but if he was draft eligible. But I think I'm going to go a safe route and say Devin Brown, because I mean, again, Raiola is 17 right now, and I don't want to put that pressure on myself to have projected that starter. I'll let you do that.
Yeah. I mean,
but you're absolutely right. Like, that absolutely could happen. I mean, that's a lot of these quarterbacks want they want that. They want to come in and sit for a year, learn, especially in a system like Days. And he's been very adamant, like, you need 1 year to sit, because no true freshman is ready to come in and start right away. But so that would be the ideal plan is Raiola comes in, sits for 1 year, learns, soaks everything up, then starts in his second year, starts in his third year, and then he's off to the NFL. But I could absolutely see that happening. But right now, I'm gonna before seeing Devin Brown's development and everything like that, because he's only a true freshman, I'm gonna stick with him being here for 4 seasons. But I mean, could absolutely change.
I drank the water that Ohio State's been giving me in terms of Devin Brown. Like it's whether it's, I mean, and I think we're all kind of passing off that, 2023 Kyle McCord, he's going to pass the baton to Devin Brown in 2024. But I mean, that could be a 2-year thing. I think, but in terms of development, in terms of the way that a quarterback, kind of in the vein of CJ Stroud and Dwayne Haskins, these guys that come in 1 year kind of changes or shines in Ryan Day's offense and can become a first round pick. We've seen how quickly that can come. So I'm kind of just talking best case scenario here. And that's Dylan Raiola in 2025.
Yeah. And I think Day, has been on record as saying this, that the best case scenario that he feels is that his quarterback will stay for 2 years of starting, which is what Justin Fields did, what CJ Stroud did. Dwayne Haskins was only starting for 1 season. So ideally, you'd want to get McCord and Brown 2 years of starting experience, but I mean, that's going to depend on how they progress and develop and perform in their first year starting. And also, we have to think about the quarterback battle that we're going to write about 1 billion times after the 2022 season when Stroud's off the NFL. So a lot of moving parts and everything like that. But
Once CJ Stroud becomes a Houston Texan. Yes, that is the correct answer.
Is that how it's shaping up for your boys down there in Houston? Is that
Colin? I mean, when I was watching
Astros fan because he loves cheating.
Yeah, that's correct. Go trash cans. Anyway, when I saw Lovie Smith and Pep Hamilton talking to CJ Stroud, I was like, and then Mike Vrabel kind of peeking over at Pro Day, kind of making sure they're not giving away too much information. I was like, okay, I like that. I like that combination, because there's a stable of like really, really young, kind of talented receivers the Texans have. So we'll see.
Well, hey, Jack Sawyer was also talking to Lovie Smith. Maybe he's the number 1 overall pick in the following year's draft.
When you'd love to see it.
Going to be the number 1 pick 2 years in a row.
Oh gosh, CJ Stroud would hate that. But anyway, well, that's all the time we got for today's episode of the Scarlet and Gray Report podcast. Follow us on Twitter at @OhioST_rivals. I'm at Colin Gay _rivals. He's at Zack with a K _carp. Please follow us. Follow what we're doing on our site. We're building something special here. Follow along. We have articles every day. We're on the board every day. So follow us along. And we'll see you guys next time on the Scarlet and Gray Report podcast.